Yes, welcome to the No Ideas original podcast featuring Shannon, Mr. Rob, and Zane. This is episode 93, and we're calling this episode WWRD, which is What Would Rob Do? This
What
episode is
would
going to be
Rob do?
in honor of Rob. So, for those that have been following No Ideas original podcast for some time in our journey and know Rob's story, Rob spoke. He spoke often, or he speaks a lot about his medical issues. And Rob was in need of a kidney transplant. He had kidney disease, and we're happy to announce that last week Rob actually was the beneficiary of a donor, and Rob received the kidney transplant. So
That's
Rob's
amazing.
gonna be out for a little bit of time, but he's gonna be out for a good reason. It was the best news that I received in a long time. Extremely excited for Rob. I think this means so much for Rob in terms of opportunities and different things he could do. I spoke to him the other day. He was extremely upbeat and excited. He's ready to get back and start recording. I keep telling him like, yo, pace yourself, Rob. So it's exciting times. I'm very happy for Rob, and I'm sure he's gonna see this. I'm sure Rob will probably comment in the comment section also. If you're watching this, leave a comment for Rob. Also, just sharing your well wishes and your support for him. This is an amazing story. You guys really follow the podcast. We had Mike Hands on some time ago, and Mike Hands, when he recorded with us, he was actually in dialysis. He was doing dialysis, and shortly thereafter, Mike Hands ended up getting a kidney. And I remember talking to Rob and saying to Rob, "You next." So the power of manifestation. You put that in the universe, and you get it. And here we are, Rob with a brand new kidney. I can't wait to see him in person and tell him he smelled like new kidney scent. What you been up to, man? How your week been going?
Oh, week been cool, man. It's been rolling. It's just for us today. It was just so hot outside, man. It's like felt like it was like 98 degrees today. But for the next 7 days, it's going to be scattered showers. But everybody was looking miserable outside. That's how hot it was. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, but overall, we already know that August is always the hottest month of the year, whatever. But and hopefully, I don't know, later on down this year, man, we'll have an Indian summer, man, because I'm not really looking forward to seeing any snow.
Yeah. Well, global warming is real, so you probably won't have any snow. Yo, so
Yeah.
let's get right to it. Some of the topics that we're talking about tonight. The first thing we want to start off talking about was just how polarizing this discussion has been around the vaccine. And again, like we've made it a point, or at least I've made it a point on the podcast, not to really attempt to discuss my opinion as it relates to the vaccine. And I've done that strategically. The reason why I've done that is because I feel like that we have almost like a societal responsibility, because we're on an open mic and people look at this, to attempt to be unbiased and to provide, I guess, people with the best information. But I'll go on record and say that my opinion as it relates to the vaccine is pro-choice. And when I say pro-choice, I think that means people should do whatever they feel is in the best interest of them. If you feel like that, it makes sense for you to get vaccinated, you get vaccinated. If you're opposed to getting vaccinated, you don't get vaccinated. But what really stands out to me with this conversation as it relates to the vaccine is that I'm starting to feel like this is becoming another social construct, in a sense of a divide of people. Like, so we have white, we have black, we have rich, we have poor, we have religious people, we have people that are non-believers, and now we have you vaccinated or you're unvaccinated. And I step back and I look and I'm like, we have mainstream media pumping out on a regular basis about the importance of why you should get vaccinated. And then you click online to social media, and on social media, there's a strong presence around why you shouldn't get vaccinated. And there's just so much information out there. I think it's really difficult to begin to kind of carve through what is the true information. So if you're a person who's on the fence and you're trying to determine which way you're going, the research is endless, because you can find something that supports getting a vaccine and then find somebody with a counter argument as to why you shouldn't get a vaccine, get the vaccine. But I just find that it's become like the latest news cycle. It's like we went from a news cycle that was predominantly talking about the election and Donald Trump and all that. And then once that died down, it was sort of a natural shift or progression into vaccination talk and COVID talk. and it's just been ongoing. Like that every soon you turn on the news, it leads with the vaccine. What are your thoughts on that?
Hmm. Well, just like we always say a lot of times, it's popular belief versus fact. Um, then you have like a lot of like backseat doctors that say, "Oh, I'm not getting this vaccine. I'm not doing that." But these dudes be doing like every drug in the world or having unprotected sex, shooting up whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like shooting up drugs in their system and all that. I mean, come on, man. So at the end of the day, it's like um it's gonna come to a point to where, as we already know, you're not gonna be able to go to like your convenience stores or like your Walmarts, your Targets and stuff like that to get just the basic necessities without having that vaccine in your system. So there's one or two things. There's always a side hustle or a loophole in something. So you're gonna have probably people making a whole rack of money making these fraudulent cards, which people are already getting arrested for anyway. Or you know how they say, "Oh, you're not gonna be able to get this, you're not gonna be able to get that." Well, that means that a family member or a relative is going to take the sole responsibility for getting people's stuff and probably getting paid on the side at some extra dollars for getting stuff from the store for people that don't want to get vaccinated. But ultimately, it's going to come down to a very strict situation with these mandates where they're going to just not let people they're going to just start separating people. It's going to be like segregation all over again.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And this time, it's not going to matter what color you are, because if you look at the origins of people, is vastly widespread. It's not majority black. I mean, they saying that in the news and stuff, but I know just as many white brothers and sisters that's not taking it just as much as black brothers and sisters, or Indian brothers and sisters, or Asians, or Spanish, or whatever, or Latin, I should say. So at the end of the day, man, I just think that people need to make the proper choice and make it soon. I mean, we already see that Pfizer has been FDA approved. So now I guess a lot of people that got the Moderna shot, they want to see what's going to go on with that. What's going to be, the time situation on that. But I'm gonna say for myself, for those that are thinking that it's the poison, it's this, is that, you got to look at this too, right? Why would they give a vaccine to doctors and people on the front line if they don't think it's going to be at least a 50% chance, if or more, of the people actually still living after they take the vaccine? Because I could see if, like, you know, uh that wasn't the situation, but you're not gonna have people on the front line like the people that we need. I mean, everybody's important, but I mean, policemen, nurses, doctors, scientists, oceanographers, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Chefs, people. I mean, everybody that's on the front line, people that's in the transit, industry and stuff like that. They not gonna have it to where these people take this vaccine and then they just wind up dwindling away. Like, you got a lot of stuff on YouTube and other different sources that's not credible, saying that people that quote unquote take these vaccines not going to be around the next 2 to 5 years. I think it's hogwash. I really think nobody knows. It's all a chance, because this technology within that, the Pfizer and within the Moderna, it's a new situation for a lot of people. And they, just waiting back and seeing. But I would say, at the end of the day, you don't want this stuff to morph into something else, because being that the Delta variant is already bad. Imagine if the Delta variant morphs into something else, and then it's a snowball effect. It's going to come to a point where, I mean, it's going to get too crazy to where people not going to come out. The government would not, or military won't allow people to come outside if this thing keeps morphing.
Well, in terms of even like the polarization piece of it, what I think about is like there's almost like it's again, I was saying the mainstream media and then the information you get off of social media. And it's unfortunate because I think there's shaming that goes on. I think people that are vaccinated shame people that are not vaccinated. And there are people that are not vaccinated that shame people for getting vaccinated. And that to me has led to just like a further divide of humanity and mankind. And I think that, I get that people like hot topics and things to pick up and run with and talk about and attempt to prognosticate upon, but it becomes troubling when you have an entertainer doing a concert under the guise of, okay, if you get vaccinated, you could attend this concert for free. To me, that does nothing to restore trust in people as to why they should get vaccinated. And conversely, if you think about also like the imagery around everything that's going on social media too, like there's so much effort and energy put into actually tearing down getting vaccinated. It's almost like it's cool to not be vaccinated. Like people wear it as a badge of honor. Like, yeah, I ain't vaccinated. I ain't taking that shit. I ain't doing this. I ain't doing that or whatever. And it really is. It removes the ability for people to make a choice that is relevant and important and specific to them. And it really has a feeling of politics to me when you start thinking about like Democrats and Republicans. Like, there was the discussion to go back to presidential election about Joe Biden and the crime bill. And that became like a talking point for a lot of people that were anti-liberal, anti-democrat, like Joe Biden, the crime bill, Joe Biden, the crime bill. And then people that were anti-Republican and anti-Trump, the wall and Donald Trump. And so it's like people just pick up on these sound bites and they take it and run with it. And what's scary to me is like it creates a bunch of people that don't have the ability to sort of discern and to filter through the information and make an educated choice based on what's beneficial to them. And that's this with politics, you could kind of do that because, there are a lot of people who sit on the sidelines of politics and don't ever feel like they're directly impacted. But this, as you were saying, like making a decision with this directly impacts you, because you could take the vaccine and you could run the risk of whatever the side effects are. Like you're saying, nobody knows what the side effects are. But then the other side of it is that you cannot take the vaccine and find yourself kind of iced out or isolated from all the other things that's going on in the country. And I remember when we did touch on this a little bit months ago, I was saying that I think that, that what's going to happen is that they're going to find out a way to kind of do a soft mandate around the vaccine. So what they do is they put it in position in like schools, like, okay, in order for you to enroll in college, you got to be vaccinated. In order for you to fly, you got to be vaccinated. In order for you to work in this industry, you got to be vaccinated, and it's unfortunate because I think I don't know if it's gotten to the point that it embarks on people's civil liberties or people's rights, but I do think that there are sneaky ways to make things mandatory without it actually calling it mandatory. And I feel like that the nature of the vaccine and what the vaccine actually does is not nearly as compelling as the discussion about the vaccine. Like people love to debate it as to why. Just go on social media, and if you probably put hashtag COVID or something like that, you'll see the debate around it so much now that I don't know about on Facebook, but I know on Instagram, you see anytime people mention anything as if it's related to COVID, to coronavirus, to the vaccine or something, they put the disclaimer underneath of whatever the post is for that reason, because there's just so much information out there. Like you could literally come out and say, well, scientists and doctors are saying that, it's proven effective, you should take it. And then somebody else could show you a post of a person that's a scientist or a doctor saying why you shouldn't take it, right? Or you could find conversely, a scientist saying don't take it, but then you have other people that's renowned doctors saying why you should take it. So it just become almost like information overload. It's like going to the movies, and when you go to the movie theater, they show you the pictures of the popcorn, the peanuts, and all that stuff to subliminally make you begin to think about, oh, maybe I do need a hot dog. Maybe I do need a vaccine. Maybe I don't need the vaccine, but it's moved away from what the significance actually is. It's moved away from the discussion about moving humanity forward to just, again, creating a divide of either you're vaccinated or you're not vaccinated. And events, travel, jobs, and all those things to me only do it further polarizes and creates a further divide amongst that population, whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated. It's a conversation starter. Think about it. I don't know how many people you bumped into that maybe you didn't see during the pandemic, and that's like one of the top 3 questions they ask you. Hey, how you doing? How's your family? Hey, did you take the vaccine or not? Or are you getting the vaccine or not? Like that's sort of become the topic for every day for everybody.
Yeah. And now I just think, man, it's a lot of stuff that I be thinking that I can't really share on here, and I'll probably save that for another show. But
The Zane After Dark show.
yeah, but I just think ultimately one of the reasons why they having it to where, like, people, like, like you said, people can't travel to and from, and all these other different, like, things that people normally have to do to keep their sanity. I'm thinking that they know that, shoot, within another year, if things keep going the way it is right now, where it's so much like a situation of people saying they're hesitant to take this vaccine, it's gonna get, I don't know, something real bad is gonna happen. And I think that's the main like, we all know something's gonna be bad if this Delta variant gets completely out of control. But I'm
Mhm.
thinking scientists and the government and military know some other stuff, and they just trying to push this agenda as much as possible, just to make sure that people, you know, at least get one shot. And then you gotta look at it too. You might have people that are hesitant and might just get that one shot and might not get that booster. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Just to say, oh, I got that one shot, I'm good. I'm not gonna take another one ever again. Then you got people that took the booster, and then you got people that's already, because I know several people that told me, when they went in for their initial shot, it was people that had these health conditions, prior to getting the vaccine, of course, and they was going in for their third shot already. So it's gonna get wild. It's gonna get like the wild wild west if things don't settle down, and people don't stay in the house, that are not that decides not to get the vaccination. Because I
Yeah.
mean, and like I said before, I think you even said it too, Shy. Like, a mixture of too many of the vaccinated and non-vaccinated people, that's not good. That's not good at all. So
I
just gotta
respect,
hope
I
for the best.
respect, yeah, I respect people's people's decision to get vaccinated, and I respect people's apprehension around getting vaccinated. Again, I just feel like that. I think the whatever decision you make, you have to deal with the outcome is. Like, if you make the decision to get vaccinated and there are potential effects, you have to endure whatever the potential side effects are. If you make the
And one
decision
more
not to
thing.
get vaccinated, if you make the decision not to get vaccinated, and as a result of it, it hinders your employment or to participate in these events or go to these restaurants or something like that, like you just have to, you kind of got to roll with it. But at the end of the day, everybody should be making a decision that they feel is in the best interest of them. Yeah, you was gonna
And
say something?
please, 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 y'all, I see this stuff every day when I'm out and about. You in a grocery store, department store, wherever, even at somebody else's house, make sure you put something over your hand before you touch these doorknobs or touch these public bathroom handles, because, and on the way out the bathroom too. Because if you washing your hands or doing all this for like 20 seconds, and you just take your bare hand and put it on a filthy handle and open up the public bathroom door to get out, defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
So make sure
Funny
that you
thing,
gotta keep your Lysol, keep your wipes and stuff like that, and try to keep your hands away from your eyes, your mouth, and your nose, because as we already know, this COVID stuff is respiratory. So you got to keep your hands away from your especially from your nose and your mouth.
it's
And
funny you say that, Zane, because even pre-pandemic, I was one of them people who would never touch the handles of them public bathroom doors, or never touch the thing to flush the toilet. Where I flush the toilet with my foot, my shoe,
my
or
foot,
whatever.
yeah, I use my foot. Oh yeah, oh yeah,
You can't
yep.
can't touch any of that stuff. Man, did you get a chance to see Iggy Azalea's Iggy? What's that? How you pronounce her last name? Iggy Azalea, right? Iggy
Yeah, Iggy
Azalea
Azalea.
what she said on social media. So she's under the position. Her position is that record labels should hire counselors, or therapists, or psychologists for their artists. What do you think about that?
I think the record label should have did that with the first record contract ever signed. These record labels, they're not there to keep you rich. They there to keep you with a little bit of money in your pocket and shark the rest away from you. Because if that was the case, these record labels, I have it to where these artists I have way more publishing, and every other rapper, whether it's old school, new school, and in between, they always talking about, oh, I never had somebody to tell me about such and such with a record contract. Well, that's why you're supposed to have a manager or lawyer or business manager, a manager, and a lawyer, but especially the lawyer to look over the contract. But you know what it is too, Shy? When especially with this generation, right? With this new generation, when you got all these rappers looking all crazy, tatted up all over their face, and just looking all bugged out, make excellent music. Some of them make alright music, but a lot of these like hip hop to me, besides like heavy metal, is the most unhealthy genre of music. It's
Why you
always an
say that?
artist. It's always an artist smoking a cigarette,
Oh.
sipping some lean, sipping some hard liquor, talking about having sex with this, that, and the third. It just promotes too much substance abuse. And that's where the labels make their money, because if these labels keep these young artists, these young boys and girls, or grown men and women sedated, right? They
Hmm.
won't be able to think clear. And number two, if as we all know, when you have two celebrities that are in a relationship, it doesn't work that long, because you got to have somebody that's a normal civilian and somebody that's superstar. That normal civilian, if they care about you, they're going to be on the outs. They're going to be on the inside looking out and on the outside looking in. You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
when you're in that industry and you engulfed by all the celebrity stardom and all that, you kind of sedated and indulge into that, and it you just get engulfed into it. And a lot of like, see the stuff going on with Kanye and Kim. Now, if Kim wasn't who she had her fame to be prior to getting to Kanye, she was like a normal woman. Okay, prime example, just like what's the guy named Kendrick Lamar and his
Hmm.
lady. They've been together since who knows? Or J. Cole and you know what I'm saying? You can't
Hmm.
just have two big celebrities, because these labels are sharks. And I definitely agree with Iggy Azalea. They should have had this stuff a long time ago. Like right now, what hip hop's like what, 47 years old?
Yeah.
Something like that, right? Yeah. It's
Yo, I
47 years later.
I think you
You know
on to
how much
something.
damage that done
Yeah,
psychologically for a lot of people?
I think you on to something with them having this a long time ago. But I also think that it probably takes time. I don't know why they don't have it now, but I think it takes time for people to realize like what else comes with the industry. Because if you look at sports now, sports, they have sports psychologists. They have like when you go to start the NFL, the NBA, the Major League Baseball, there are like financial advisors and stuff put in place. Like I think there's enough history in hip hop now to know what are the pitfalls for artists. And some of it is substance abuse, some of it is previous trauma that they had prior to getting into the industry. Some of it is trauma related to finally having money. Some of it is financial abuse that they're subjected to. Newfound freedom, different opportunities. So yeah, I do think that there would be value in having to have clinicians or therapists to work with. But there's also, I think, a stigma associated with actually seeking mental health help. Like only in probably the last 3 or 4 years, I think, have we started talking more openly about mental health struggles. For the longest, especially in the Black community, Black and Latino community, if you have a therapist, what did they say you are? What did they say? You crazy, this, that. Like they didn't, people didn't realize that mental health was just as valuable as physical health. So now you have
Mhm.
more prominent figures who are stepping forward and actually making it cool to seek counseling. You know, I know Charlemagne the God is like one of the number one advocates in terms of talking about mental health and mental health awareness. And now I think that as a community, hip hop, blacks, African Americans, Latinos, I think people are now opening up and becoming more receptive to it. Now, what we need is for record labels to embrace it also and see the value of it. And I can't see why a record label wouldn't embrace it and see the value of it, because at the end of the day, the artist is your product, right? And you want to protect your product to make sure that your product could sell. The same way sports owners invest in psychologists and therapists for their players, because they put out this huge contract. They give the athlete a huge contract, and they want the athlete to perform. And if you want your product or your person, your artist, or whatever it is to perform better, what better way than that's going to help them deal with some of the trauma that they're subjected to? Who knows if they had this in place? Maybe some of these artists that fall victim to some of these pitfalls while they out on the road or while they new in the industry, they would potentially be able to avoid. You know, I mean, everything comes at a cost for the label, and like you said earlier, like the labels in the business are figuring out how they could probably siphon as much money as possible out of it. So it does show up eventually if a record label does, and who, maybe we don't know, maybe record labels are doing it. But if it does show up, I'm sure the record labels will find a way to attach that to the bill in terms of being recuperated for stuff with the artist. Like, oh, you got wardrobe, you went and did your shows, you did promo, and you've seen the psychologist who charges the hourly rate of $200 an hour or whatever it is. So all of this is coming out of your budget. But I have to say, like, I honestly think that would be money well spent.
You gotta look at it too, Sha, which I'm sure you probably heard of this. They have this thing called MK Ultra, where a lot of these celebrity big time, mostly you're gonna hear about like the big time artists. You ain't gonna hear about it from like Joe Schmo having a meltdown. Like, you know, when you hear about Britney Spears and just a lot of these different artists, I believe that, you know, if they would have had the you know the type of services that we were talking about earlier, then yeah, a lot of them wouldn't have had that meltdown. Some of them get so deep into it, into whatever it is, hypnosis or whatever it is, that they never come out of it. You know, look at people like who? Sinead O'Connor and people from way back in the day. You know, people even try to say, you know, the situation happened with Lauryn Hill back then. We don't know. You see what I'm saying? But I do know that a lot of artists that have a big voice, big image, and can change a lot or shift the paradigm of how a lot of the people, or just the world think on a global scale. Them people either go crazy or they die.
Yeah.
So
Yo,
I don't know.
Britney Spears was signed to Jive Records. She made a lot of money, a
A lot
lot
of
of money for Jive Records. Could you imagine how much more money she could have made for Jive Records if she was able to keep her mental health, you know, sharp? Like she was subjected to a lot at her early age. She had all that stardom, all that money, started having children,
shoot,
newfound
but way
relationship.
back, yeah, she was in Disney.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She was like a mouseketeer or something like that, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
imagine all that pressure, and then the industry and her record label. They made Britney Spears was selling a lot of records. She sold a lot of records. Imagine if they would have invested in their investment, how many more records she could have sold. But I feel like that they kind of used up, and I think she had like a residency in Vegas or something like that. But Britney Spears, who she was then, is she's a shell of herself now versus
Mm.
who she was then. And she probably had those same issues then, but there was probably more interest in managing those issues than there are now, because she's not an earner. But what I'm saying is that they could have extended the shelf life of her career and helped her as a human being if she would have had the proper mental health treatment in place. You know, so that may be something that if record labels are doing it, kudos to them. If they aren't doing, you're missing the mark. You're missing the mark on it, because the artist definitely would benefit from it. So Iggy Azalea, she's going with that. That's a great idea.
Plus, I think Iggy just like I was looking at some of the stuff she's saying that she this whatever is coming up is gonna be her final album and stuff like that. I just think that Iggy, I think she's gonna Or you know what? Maybe she just matured enough to say, you know what, me, her showing her butt in all these pictures and you know portraying herself a certain way. Maybe she just woke up one day and snapped out of that. She see another
Mhm.
way for her to rebrand herself and have it to where she might be on the cover of Revlon or whatever. You see what I'm saying? Or some like the real big magazines. But also I just think it's too much competition, man. You got Doja Cat, you got all these other people before
Mhm.
on that same wavelength of the music that Iggy was making back in the day, and
Mhm.
it's like it's either one or two things. Her ghostwriter is not dealing with her no more because everybody knows she had a ghostwriter,
Mhm.
or she just feel that she's being blackballed, or she just feel that she can't hit that. She's not at her peak no more.
That that could be
She
it.
went past her prime because there's way too much new music out here. Too many, like, come on, it's like every week you find like 4 or 5 new celebrities of different genres making a crazy wave right now. And
Mhm.
I just think that ultimately, instead of her saying that she feel that she can't compete no more with the music, she's just saying like, look, um, this is my last album, and I'm going on to bigger and better things. But like I said, from the different things that I read and saw online, it looked like she just maturing. She has the kid, the son now by what's his name?
Playboy Cardi.
Playboy Cardi. And I just think that she just, opening up a whole nother chapter right now. And she's not looking back.
Well, hopefully it works for her. But that's definitely a good idea that she had. Sticking with the theme of mental health, did you see that Lizzo was on social media recently and she actually uploaded a video of herself in tears where she was visibly upset about being cyberbullied. I
Mm.
guess she has her pictures out online, and people are in the comments saying horrific things and fat shaming her
Mm.
for posting those pictures and talking about her weight. You know, I have to be honest with you. I'm very confused by this. I'm not confused by the bullying aspect because I know that's very real, and I know that people tend to cyberbully because of the ability to have anonymity. The social media has created a platform where any joker can get online, say horrible things about people, and do it in stealth mode where nobody knows who they are. Um, and they can just be cruel and just say horrible things. But what's confusing to me is that I always and I apologize in advance. I'm not the biggest Lizzo fan. I don't really follow her much. I probably could name maybe 2 songs by Lizzo, but I always thought Lizzo's image was that she was a bigger woman that was proud of her body and not afraid to flaunt her body. And I thought that people liked her for that reason, that she was comfortable in her skin as a bigger woman. Um, and she may be. She may be. Who am I to say? She may be. It just seems like now that people are turning up the heat a notch on her for her choice of outfits. Lizzo will put on G-strings, thongs, bikini tops. So she's out there shaking and dancing and twerking and gyrating. And now people in the comment sections are just they have something, they have an opinion, and they have something to say about it. So I'm wondering, like, because Lizzo is a public figure and a celebrity, and she puts that imagery online, those images are posted by her. You know, is she vulnerable? Clearly, she's vulnerable for it. Do people have a right to offer their commentary on the photos? Are people wrong for saying something about her weight? Are people body shaming her? I don't know, because again, like, to me, I thought her image was that she was a big woman. Am I missing something with this? What do you think?
Well, one thing I want to say is big shout out to Lizzo. I feel the same way with you as far as what I'm about to say right now, though, is that I can only name, I think, 1 or 2 songs. It was like the very first 1 or 2 songs that she came out with. They were very catchy. I can't remember
She's
the name of
very
the
talented.
song, but they were very catchy.
Yeah, she's very
Um,
talented though. She's very talented and an amazing singer, and amazing artist.
Yeah, and I would say shout out to her because people got to look at it too, man. Like every female that we see now with the nice body and all that, they wasn't always like that. You know, it was a transformation. And
But
right now,
Zane, not to cut you off, but here's something to think about. Like we may not, I may not think it, you may not think that she has a nice body, but she's successful. Clearly, there's a market for it. There's some men out there
oh
or
yeah,
women, there's some people out there who really appreciate her, because she's not an unattractive woman, but
right.
there's some people that really look at her and be like, I really find her to be sexy and attractive.
And
So,
there's some women out there that make Lizzo look like she got a Kim Kardashian body, basically. It's a lot of it's a lot, so big shout out to the thick women out there, the full figured women out there, the women that shop. I don't even know if it's still open. That shop at Ashley Stewart and stuff like that. Nah, because at the end of the day, it's like beauty, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You
mhm.
can have a woman with a quote unquote perfect body, but attitude stink, and you can have a woman that weighs 500, 600 pounds, and she's the nicest, most daring person on the face of the earth. So but being that we in this music realm, we in the entertainment realm, there's not a lot of female. Now I'm gonna show you all the contrast to this. It's not a lot of successful, full figured female rappers that came out, even R&B singers that came out that was like real big. You know what I'm saying? That
You
that that
remember
that made
Kelly
a
Price? Did you ever
no.
hear
I mean
about
like no. I mean like real big, like
yeah.
real big.
Kelly Price
Now,
said that
now, now, see,
Kelly
see,
Price
but
said
that,
that she Kelly Price
see,
said
but
that
that
she had
shows
a
you. Oh, go
executive
ahead.
though. Did you hear the story about her? Where she had an issue
No.
with was it Kevin Lyles, or I think she said it was Kevin Lyles, that he told her that in order for her to be successful, she had to lose weight. And that I guess he put some sort of incentive in her contract that was saying that she had to lose weight to be successful. So
Mm.
it happens, it definitely
But
happens.
you know
But
what
yeah,
though? I think. See, and the thing about it, it's just real disgusting how I can name 7 or 8 like obese male rappers, you
mm-hmm.
know, but when it comes to female rappers showing off their body, it's a whole nother different thing. So at the end of the day, are people more in tune with hearing your music or looking at your body? Now, prime example, right? I'm saying it like this, like whatever Lizzo's first, second song, the real big song that people started knowing her about. If I'm listening to her music and I'm like, damn, this song is good. But then when I see her, I'm like, okay. Some people might get thrown off and be like, oh, I didn't picture her to look this big and all that. Then when
Mm-hmm.
she starts coming out with the like, the spandex or the leotards or whatever she's doing, it makes it to where people feel uncomfortable because they might not want to see that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of times I don't want to see it for real. I'm gonna keep it funky, but
But couldn't
at
they
the
not
same
follow her?
time, huh?
Couldn't they not follow her? Couldn't you just not follow her
Right.
on
What I
Instagram,
was about
or
to say.
not
Yeah,
listen to her music or watch her
you can
videos?
block her. You can put not interested, and a lot of them different type of algorithms won't pop up on your phone or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at it as two. It could be another thing, Sha. Just because she's boo-hooing and all that, it doesn't mean that her record label's not putting the money to fund the campaign behind that to show her attention because you got to look at it. In order for people to compete as far as musically in this oversaturated industry, you got to get shot, you got to go to jail, you got to fall off stage, you got to have a seizure, all this other stuff, bro. So, prime example, just like with Kanye, a lot of people know still to this day, but even back then, Kanye used to always talk about like he on TMZ with the paparazzi. Kanye's people call the paparazzi to let him know where he's gonna be. And when the paparazzi get there, he acts like, oh, get out of my face, you in my boundaries and all that. It's just all coming up with different type of ways to make yourself marketable. Because Lizzo
But then
can't talk about, huh?
we started out by saying that. I started out by saying, remember I said to you, I was like, I thought that was her thing. That
Yeah,
her thing was that,
yeah,
I'm a plus size woman.
yeah,
And I sing. But the other thing I think to consider with her also is that, like, I guess she falls victim to European standards, right? So
yeah,
Eurocentrically, it's what's said is that in order for you to be attractive, you can't be a plus size woman. So that's what she up against.
yeah. I tell you what though, I believe Lizzo years down the line, I don't think it's gonna happen like within the next 2 years or 3 years, but she's gonna lose that weight, and people gonna reflect on this, and they're gonna be like, "Damn, yeah, she was big, but you know what? She started eating healthy. She started doing her thing." Because I was reading about some of the stuff that she was, going to like up against. She's
Hmm.
saying that yeah, she wants to represent the full figure women that can still eat healthy. A lot of times when you see a full figure woman, you might not think that she's eating healthy at all. You might think she's just eating straight McDonald's and fast food. But nah, there's a lot of full figured women that eat healthy. It's just that they started late. You know what I'm saying? So throughout the duration of time, we will see what Lizzo's going to be all about as far as with that, health situation going on, because we want Lizzo to be around for a long time. She's a talented, beautiful sister, and we want to make sure that she stay healthy. But at the same time, we don't condone cyberbullying and stuff like that, because a lot of people don't have the mental capacity to like take the stuff that other people can endure. As far as with cyberbullying, some people can be like, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna block this person," or "You know what? I'm not even gonna respond to it." But with
Hmm.
her, she's in the limelight. And another thing too, we don't know what her background is, whether she was like physically abused, emotionally abused, and all that. So we gotta just, we gotta treat it real delicate with her. But once again, shout out to Lizzo. Do your thing, girl.
Well, look at Adele. Adele lost the weight, and has Adele been the same since she lost the weight? Adele had more notoriety. She was plus size. She's not the same artist.
Hmm.
So that's
Yeah,
what I'm saying. Like I've always thought that was sort of Lizzo's. Um, I don't want to say gimmick, but her image. I thought that was
yeah.
like her image, and that's what she was going with.
Hmm.
So the only thing we could do is wish Lizzo well. And again, like I definitely sympathize with her getting cyberbullied. My recommendation would be turn off the comments, but don't change who you are. If you're comfortable in your
Right,
skin, that's the only
right.
thing that matters. Man, Sha'carri Richardson they flamed her. They flamed her on the internet over the weekend. They put a foot on her neck and they stayed on her neck. They've been on her neck the whole week for finishing last in the 100-meter race. What are your thoughts on this? Did you see this, and how do you feel about everything that's going on with Sha'carri right now?
That's another thing too. It's another thing, bro. You never know. She might have lost that to bring more hype to her. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
she
Her public.
didn't.
Nah, I'm saying Mike. But then another thing too, once them other people that was in the Olympics prior to this last race where she came ninth, they saw that as like a slap in the face. They like, yo, you gonna risk where you at right now, and you want to smoke marijuana. You could have done that after the damn race. So that might have put a battery in her competition's back to go that to strive extra harder, to train extra harder. You never know. But I'm thinking it made it to where the people that she raced against, they was like, nah. All of them had in their mind, nah, she is not gonna beat me. She's not gonna beat me. And that's the reason why she
Well,
came in. That's the reason why she came in last place.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't like people make it out like that she was racing against me and you. She was
Right.
racing
Right.
against world class elite
Yeah, world
competition.
class athletes. Yeah.
My thing with her, like, I know everybody laughed at her expense, but it's something I think that we got to think about. Like, I think America in particular, they love to see somebody. America and I would also say people of color, we love to get behind somebody and rally on behalf of them. We love it. Like we like to see them ascend and do well.
Mhm.
But you know what we love more than that? Their decline. We seem to take joy in seeing people like, oh, you think you all that? Here's a slap back down to reality. And that's really unfortunate because there were so many people that when she tested positive for marijuana, there were people making shirts, everybody on
Yeah.
social media. Oh, let her run. Let her, she ain't do nothing. It's only marijuana. It's legal in most of the states. People went hard in support of her. And they were extremely supportive of her. But those same people that was extremely supportive of her, it's like a switch clicked
Mhm.
literally in a matter of a couple of months. And she went from being the best thing in the world to the punchline in people's jokes. And so to me, it's like, yo, why do we get behind her and support her? Or do we get behind her and support her too early in the game? Like, did she, were we overzealous and did we have or we just it was a feel good story that everybody hitched their wagon to and was like, yeah, I really like this. I like what's going on. This is a nice sound bite. This is something for us to talk about. We're going to champion her. And then automatically shift gears on her when she's not successful. And then I wonder, would she have had the same backlash or would she have got the same ridicule or memed if she would have went to the Olympics and performed in that manner? Right. So to me, it's just like, come on, like if we got to support her, like support her, and even in her support her when she's doing well and support her when she's down. The other part of it I don't like is that in this, what they've successfully did is they created even more competition amongst women, right? So that's about her and how you call it, the Jamaican ladies that finished first, second, and third, clowning her in comparison to them. So first, you put the woman against woman and you put women of color against each other. And
Mhm.
all for the sake of that, we, what, now she's been humbled. Now we need to humble her. We need to humble her now. But last month, or right before the Olympics started, everybody was riding for her about how wonderful she was and how she was the number one athlete. And let her run, let her run, let her run. And then Sunday come around, Saturday or Sunday, whatever day it was, she lost the race. And it was like, yo, to hell with her. She a clown. She was
So
probably on
that
weed. That's why she lost.
so that last race where she came in ninth, that was her very last race, right?
She dropped out of the next competition. The next one, I think the 200 meter, I think she dropped out of it. She dropped
Now
out of
watch
it.
this.
And her people should, to me, her people shouldn't have pulled her. Her people shouldn't have pulled her from it. I don't think they should have pulled her from the race because I think that there's success in failure. Like sometimes you need to fail to succeed. Like she take this and go back to the drawing board and really study it and say, okay, maybe I'll slow out the gate. Maybe I need to do this. Maybe I need to do that. Maybe this is the level of competition that I'm actually facing. So I need to train harder. But to me, you don't shy away from adversity. Like if her people take her back to local events and have her race me and you in the park, and she's gold medal out of me, me and you, that doesn't do anything to help her improve on a world stage. Like you have to take those bumps and bruises to get better.
Shy, do you really think that what's the odds of one of the best current female track stars coming in dead last?
What do I think of the odds of it? I think it was
You don't
legitimate.
think
You
it
know
was
why?
planned that way? You don't think it was planned that way?
No, you know why I don't think it was planned that way? I think because at the trials you're competing against people that's just that. These are people that's at the trials, like these are all people who want the opportunity to get on the Olympic team and represent the US. So it's no different than, I don't know if you ever had this experience where you play sports for a team in your town or whatever, and the guy who was the man in your town, and I've seen this before too, the guy who was the man in your town, the man on your team or whatever it is, you go to play in a tournament, and at that tournament you playing against, you know, competition across the country, and then that person that was the man on your team is relegated to a role player in that particular environment, because there is kind of like this big fish in a small pond thing. Like you look at players that I know, for me growing up, Felipe Lopez, highly touted Felipe Lopez from Dominican Republic, could have went out of high school and easily been drafted in the top 5.
Mhm.
Arguably one of the best high school basketball players that I've ever seen and knew about anything like. But then got on the college level and he went from a great player in high school on a college level to, I would say, an average to good player, and then the NBA player. He was, probably a mediocre player at best. So as you step up in competition, there's levels to it. And Sha'carri, to me, she's a young athlete she's been running for a while, but when you're facing world level competition, and people that may have been doing it longer than you, it's just a different animal. So no, I'm not surprised that she finished last. Would I have liked to see her finish better? Yes, but I don't think that there was any coincidence as to why she finished last. She probably hasn't even been running against competition in that magnitude. All of them are fully trained, coming fresh out of the Olympics, coming off of gold, silver, and bronze medals. The Jamaican team, Team Jamaica. And the lady just missed the damn record in that particular race, just missed the record by less than half a second or something like that. So that should tell you about the quality of people she was racing against.
So, do you think? I
Conspiracy hour with Zane is now started. Go ahead, Zane.
right. So, do you think that if she didn't smoke marijuana prior to the other one that she got disqualified from, do you think she would have made at least one or two in that race, or is
Do
just
I,
like, or it's like a you never know situation?
do I think she would have performed better in the Olympics? I
Yeah,
think,
like
I
you think
think that
she
she
would
would have had a better performance. Do I think she would have won? I don't know if she would have won, but I think she would have performed better in the Olympics because I do think she put on a good face and she said the right things. But I do think that she's probably discouraged. She's coming off of losing her mother. She was extremely excited about the opportunity to go and have that opportunity taken away from her. Like there's a possibility that her motivation to continue to keep running may have taken a hit as a result of everything that went on. So if the athletes that she was competing against had been running from doing all their training and ran through the Olympics, like to me, they're far more primed and in better shape than her. Not to say that she wasn't at home practicing, but she wasn't running against the same level of competition. So I think that had she wouldn't have had that hiccup and would have went to the Olympics, she would have probably performed better than a ninth place positioning that she came in that particular race. But let's be real. Like you can't do any worse than last place. So
Yeah,
it came in eighth place in the Olympics. We don't know, but I do think that she'd have performed better.
I
And I
was
don't.
real surprised. Now go ahead.
And I was gonna say, and I don't think that it was any trickery in her coming in last because the race was held in Oregon. Also, if my understanding is correct, she's a Nike athlete. Nike headquarters is in Oregon. If at any stage that she needed to perform on, to me was right there in front of Nike.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Sha. I think it might have been it's politics, bro. And I forgot that it was in Oregon. So, but once you said Nike, I was like, yeah, Nike is based out of Oregon. Like, what's the likelihood of that happening to where she comes in dead last, where her top sponsor is headquartered at?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like politics, bro. But you know what?
To
I'm
me, the
real
better
surprised.
politics would have been her winning it. The better politics, the better feel good story, and everything is her coming back from this stuff, from all this stuff, and having triumph. That's a far better story than because her trajectory is trending downwards. Her stock is
Downward,
going
yeah,
down. And
yeah.
Nike
'Cause
is
you
the
know how
brand of
much
all
money
brands.
You know how much money by from not just Nike, but all them other companies that were attached to her, and none of them dropped her after that situation. But you know how
Mm-hmm.
much money and campaigning dollars goes towards. I mean, not saying that she was the only athlete that Nike was behind. Of course, it was multitude of
Mm-hmm.
other people that was
Yep.
there, but that's like a slap in the face to like all the companies that believe in her that she would follow protocol and do the right thing. And if you notice, she's the only athlete that went through that bullshit. So when she comes back to the hometown of or the state of where the headquarters is, she has to take that L. That's showing her, hey, at any given time, this can happen to you. We can boost you up, but if you don't follow protocol and you want to just do whatever you want to do, sweep the rug from under you.
Yo, so I was saying, remember what I said? America loves a feel good story, right? So they like to see people up, but they love to see if people come crashing back down. But you know what they also love? A rebound and
Right.
resilience. Resilience is very marketable. So I don't think it's over for her. I think that
That's
if
why
she
I was
could,
playing, bro. That's what I'm saying.
yeah, I
She
don't
went
think it's
through
over for
peaks
her.
and valleys, and now the next joints that she's gonna do when she come in first place and all that other stuff, it makes more of a better story overall because it shows the peaks and valleys that she went through. But by her doing that and getting disqualified as far as for the Olympic joint,
Mhm.
nah, those the big wigs. Now it could have been any other damn thing, but the Olympics, nah. You know what mob behind that? All big wigs is behind that stuff, bro.
The
That's
stage has
that's
been
that's
set.
that's the world stage right there. That's not
Well,
just
the stage
you
is
know.
set now, though, Zane. Like it don't. She could go out and win a race right now against five people in college. The stage has been set now. Like she's
Yeah,
been
it's a reset button.
the narrative has been created that is her against the how you call it, the team Jamaica, that those are the
Mm-hmm.
fastest runners and that she has to be able to beat them. So
Mm-hmm.
me, I'm cool with her progressing from ninth place to fifth place to third to eventually challenging, you know.
I
But
think she's gonna go straight to one or two. That next big race, she's
we
gonna be
need
straight number one
but
or two.
we live in a microwave society that wants instant results. So they want to see her go from getting disqualified to
Mm-hmm. To
winning,
ninth place.
coming in first or
Yeah.
whatever. And I just don't see it. I honestly think that undermines the talent of Team Jamaica. And Team Jamaica didn't finish in
Mm.
gold, silver, and bronze for any reason like that. These are not slouches that she's running against. She's running
Oh
on
yeah,
on
Jamaica
the world,
always Jamaica
on
always had
yeah,
a top
she's
tier.
running on the world
Male and
stage.
female runners. Yeah.
She's running on the world stage. So if you're running on the world stage and the level of competition is better, then you gotta come with your A game. So as far as her being humbled and stuff like that, like I'm sure it was humbling for her. But to me, the lesson to be learned in this is that there's the resilience. Like you keep pushing, you keep going, you keep doing your thing, and I still see a great deal of potential in her and what she could be if her handlers play it right with her. Because I don't think she need to withdraw out of any more races. I think she should have ran the 200 and however she performed, she performed. And if she needed an excuse to fall back on, she could have easily been like, "Well, I haven't been running competitively against top-notch runners in several months because I was out of the Olympics. I got to get my legs back. I got to get my time in. This is the biggest race I've been in." Where there's a number of built-in excuses she could have went with. Not, yeah, I'm not even doing this no more because of the embarrassment.
Sha. All I'm gonna say that's gonna correlate with this Richardson woman.
Mm-hmm.
Remember how much and how vocal, but I mean two different personalities, of course. But I'm just trying to match the dots. She messed up. Now think about LeBron. When LeBron was very vocal and all this other stuff, and then look, went to the playoffs, right? As soon as I saw Anthony Davis had that injury, I said it's over. It's over.
That's more
That's
about
how it
his
works, bro.
performance. That's more about
That's how it
LeBron's
works, bro.
performance, not his vocal, not him being
I don't
vocal on
know, man.
issues. But people
I be thinking this whole industry stuff is just fixed, bro.
rigged.
Rigged,
Uh,
yeah.
probably to a degree, there's some shenanigans in it, but I also think that, again, like I said, like I think that the level of competition, when the level of competition increases, you have to increase, your skill set. Also, there's a reason why, you know, there's a reason why there are the top 50 basketball players of all time when everybody else is underneath, or there's a reason why there's only 100 some people in the NBA. Like there are people who in college have been great basketball players in college and then got to the NBA and couldn't even make the league or rode the pine like that. So as
Yeah. There-
competition
There's,
is competition, man.
there's a reason why she came dead last place in Oregon,
I
the state
know
headquarters of Nike.
because
Telling
she
you,
was
man.
because she was the slowest.
Nah, man. She messed up from getting disqualified of the other drink.
So you think Nike was punishing her?
Hell yeah.
Nike not gonna punish their product. That's their investment. Speaking of
Bro.
punishment, New
When
York
she
Governor Cuomo.
now look, when she starts to ascend again, that's gonna make her even more popular than she was before. But they had to show her a lesson.
So what? So how did they? How did Nike? What did Nike go to her and tell her you got to take the L? You got to lose.
Somebody told her. I don't think Nike like did it, but Nike used maybe her trainer. I don't know. It was something like, put it this way. The trainer knew that she was gonna come in last place. The trainer knew. So Nike not gonna initially go straight directly to her, but trust me, the trainer knew what was gonna happen.
So the trainer went to her and told her, "Yo,
The
this the
trainer went to her and
the
told her,
race.
like,
I
look,
need you to finish
fall
that
back,
last
take a couple of strides back, embarrass yourself, then we're gonna be good. That's how it works, bro.
one." Nah, did this. Nah, Zane, yo, she ain't going for that. Oh,
She has no choice.
yo, she not going for
She's with Nike. Whatever Nike say, she got to
that.
do. That's like when, okay, oh, I'm running for president, whether male, female, whatever, and then they say, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. They get elected. What happens? They work for the entity.
Yo, you
Telling
think
you,
so?
bro.
So hold on. So she signed a deal with Nike, and then Nike told her, since you got caught smoking weed, we want you in front of us when you race in Oregon, arguably against the best runners, the best competition you
Right.
ever
Look,
faced. We
peep
need you
this,
to finish
right?
in last
Peep
place.
this, right? She got caught smoking weed and she lost to the Jamaicans.
Oh
Rubbed it
God.
in her face. Rubbed it in her face. What's
Yo,
the irony of that, bro?
yo, nah, I disagree. I just think she got beat by better runners. But speaking speaking of irony and taking L's, did you hear that New York Governor Cuomo had to finally resign amid all of the sexual accusations he had and
Yeah,
transgressions he made?
man.
What are your thoughts around that? And this, y'all, that's funny we talking about this because this kind of ducktails into, remember we were talking about Bill Cosby
Yeah.
also. And I was saying, I was like, what people don't realize about this stuff is you could say, because I've heard people say, well, he was positioning himself to become president. People didn't want him to become president. So because of the political parties that be, they threw this monkey wrench in his plan and everything. And I don't want to say that that's not possible because I believe that that very well could have happened. But I also think that in order for people to find a smoking gun, you have to be the one who actually pulled the trigger. So if he wasn't in these
Right.
positions of touching these women and stuff like that, you think that they would have this material on him, or you think that they made this up because he admitted to doing this stuff.
Cha.
Mm-hmm.
Now when I moved from New York to New Jersey, had a
Hold on,
lot.
you're not about to incriminate yourself and say you touched something, right?
No, 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 no,
Okay,
no, no.
cool.
No, no, no. When I moved from New York to New Jersey, it was very cool with a lot of Italian brothers and sisters that was my age, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the stigma about
I know where you're
Italian?
going with this. I
Right.
know,
Thank
I know
you.
where you're going
Thank
with
you.
this.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, you don't gotta answer that part, but can you name when we ever had a full Italian president?
No,
Number three.
you gotta go to number two.
I already went to number two. I mean, no. I went to number one first, and then I went to
Okay,
number two.
okay,
Now, remember, because number one, you was like, and I said, you don't got to answer that part. Number
okay.
three, right? Following the one and two situation, do you know if they have a president of that origin, how much they think it might be too much of a too much muscle?
Mm.
So what I'm thinking is that it's another situation, another.
Reel him back in.
No, no. I mean, just like with the Richardson situation, it's like it's all a play. It's all a play. They to me they never had a full Italian president, and I think America don't want that
Mm. So
because of
you think on
you
the
know.
world stage, you think, well, I don't know, because his popularity was definitely increasing with COVID, and he took a hit for his handling of COVID towards the latter tenure of his time as the governor. But again,
Right.
I also go back to, I think that I don't want to discredit or deny or say that politics weren't in play, because I do think that a lot of it was politically motivated to say, like, okay, I'm a conservative, I don't like this guy, or he did have a lot of political enemies. So I could see people saying, okay, this is what we're gonna get him on. We're gonna focus on this, and as a result of focusing on this, we're gonna get him out of the office.
And
But
plus,
but
depending
but
upon what.
but I want to go back to Zane, regardless of whatever their play was. Like, he gave them the ammunition. You can't get mad that you got caught if you actually did the stuff. Had he wouldn't have did the stuff, they would have probably had to get him on something else. And because they may, like you saying, they may not have wanted him to be in that seat as the president, maybe they would have got him on something else. Maybe they would have dug in his past and they would have found something else about him that they was like, all right, so this is the thing we're gonna go to. But I'm just saying that he gave them the ammunition to do
But
it.
Sha, in your life, have you ever can recall more than a handful of times, or maybe not even 5 times, that you were embraced or hugged by somebody and you let it happen, that a person that you didn't want to hug you, or at least try to like block halfway, not just have it to where they fully embrace you?
Well,
I've never had that happen. If I
well,
don't want a person to hug me, I'm gonna block it. They're gonna know that I'm pulling back, or I'm gonna push them. I'm
well,
not gonna fully
you
embrace
know
nobody
what?
that I want
You
to
know
hug
what?
me or touch
It's
me.
it's that's it's I think that's in our nature in terms of who we are by way of creating boundaries. But I'm happy you bring that up, because I think one thing that I'm very conscious of in the roles that I play in life, like, like, I've been in positions at jobs where I've been directors or supervisors for many years now, or
Mm-hmm.
even in my role at the college.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to be mindful of what you bring to the table in your role. And I think that with me being in management and having these positions for so long, like, I know that I can't sit around, male or female staff, and make a whole bunch of sexual innuendos, or you know touch people. Like, I'm not, by nature, I'm not gonna go out and try to hug somebody I don't know anyway. That's just me. And I've heard people say also, well, in Italian culture, people will hug and they're handsy and stuff like that. That doesn't necessarily mean that everybody else is gonna embrace that or everybody is happy with that. And it may have been an issue in terms of where, Cuomo didn't realize that he was making people uncomfortable. That may very well be the case, but the fact that that happened, that doesn't dismiss the fact that he did it. And you have to, as a man in a position of power, you have to be aware of how you come across and how you
Yeah.
put yourself out there and how you portray yourself, because it can easily be misconstrued as quid pro quo. Like, like, all right, if I don't hug this man, then when it comes time for me to get a raise, I'm not going to get a raise. Or when it comes time for me to be considered for whatever political ambition I have, I'm going to want his endorsement, or I'm going to need a favor from him. So I have to agree to it. At the end of the day, like, hopefully the lesson for him learn from this, because I don't think he's finished. I think he definitely can rebrand himself, come back in another capacity, and potentially make a run at the Oval Office, maybe down the road. That may be in his future. I just think that he needs to learn from this, that he has to have better and
How much do
appropriate
we know
boundaries.
about how much do we know about his replacement? The lady that replaced him.
I don't know
I,
much
I
about
don't know
her.
much.
I don't know much about her because, one, I don't reside in New York, and I also think that largely she was used as almost like a token, for lack of a better word,
Mm.
being the lieutenant governor. Like, she wasn't somebody who was actively thrust. Active, she wasn't active until everything came up with him, and then now it's kind of like she was thrust into the limelight. Okay, like, yeah, his replacement. And I read the
It
newspaper
can't
and I
have
see
been
what they
another
do.
male. Because if another
Huh?
male would have went through the same crap, they would have been like, look. You
Well,
shutting yourself down.
she was is politics again. She was the lieutenant governor, so in the event that he is impeached or resigned, she automatically was elevated to that position. The same way, I don't know if you remember Elliot Spitzer. Elliot
Yeah,
Spitzer was the
yeah.
governor who he got caught where he was hiring the escorts, and then we end up getting New York State got David Patterson as the governor, the black dude that was legally blind because of that, because he was the lieutenant governor. So
Now,
it wasn't like they just find a replacement. It's like if you're the lieutenant governor, you ascend to that position in the event something happens to the governor. And I just saw on the news that she has a gentleman that I think that he was, I don't know if he was assemblyman or something like that, that he's going to be the new black guy, going to be the new lieutenant governor. So if something ended up happening to her, that he would ascend to the position. But they're speculating that she put him on a ticket to try to mobilize black voters, because I think that governor seat is up for election next year. So a white woman at the head of the ticket and a lieutenant governor, a black man. That's what it looks like.
he's
That she's
blind. He's
going
legally
with.
blind.
Governor Patterson, when he replaced Elliot Spitzer, he was legally blind.
Okay, Governor Patterson.
Yeah.
Now, answer me this though, right? Say if Cuomo wasn't a male, Cuomo was a female. Do you think this would have been the same play? You think if Cuomo happened to have been a female and all
And
this
did
stuff
you think?
happened, the same allegations, that it would have been the same outcome?
I think it would have been worse. You know why I think it would have been worse? Because the scandal would have been even bigger. It's sad that it's become commonplace for us to believe that men only sexually harass women. So I think it would have been even bigger. That people would have been like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me this is a female sexually harassing her male subordinates? And to remove sex out of the equation, I think, again, if we go back to politics, political parties and affiliations, if people didn't like that female, they would have found a way to get out. Look how many conservatives can't stand Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi throw a party at her house. They got pictures of her having parties where people don't have on a mask, or she go to get her hair done and a person in the salon don't have on a mask, and they're putting that out there also showing. So a lot of times it's about the ammunition that you give these people to actually dig up the dirt on them. Like the same thing with the conservative dude when he was going for Supreme Court Justice, Brett Kavanaugh, where they found the woman who accused him raping her, I think in college, or sexually assaulting her in college. Like if that stuff is out there, if it's a smoking gun to be found, people are going to dig it up and find it if they don't like you. And sadly, like I said, I think Cuomo just gave them the ammunition. Cuomo is so disliked that they talking about his father. He named what used to be the Tappan Zee Bridge that connected Westchester and Rockland. He renamed it to the Mario Cuomo Bridge. They put a petition in place where they want to rename it again out of the Cuomo name. His father has nothing to do with this, but they want to rename it. They want to rename it, I think, for a firefighter that passed away, or rename it back, switch it back to the Tappan Zee Bridge. That's how they feel about Cuomo.
I didn't follow like a lot of the intricate details of this particular case with Cuomo, but I don't know if you know or not. Did they ever interview any of his bodyguards?
His bodyguards? No, I don't. I'm not certain, but I know they did a thorough investigation. New York State Attorney General Letitia James, who is actually, I believe she's a Democrat also. She's the one who came back with the findings against him and found that he was, in fact, guilty of improper conduct.
It's real hard to come back from that, bro. Like, I mean, you never know. I mean, things do happen. People can change, or people can, forgive others for doing X, Y, Z, but for him to be in that political, but damn, look at all the stuff that Trump was going through, and this dude still got elected president and then stayed president.
Well, that's why I said,
damn.
That's why I said he's not done, because as far as I know, I haven't heard of anything criminally being filed against him. I know everything right now is like civil, and people was calling for his resignation, which he fought tooth and nail, but I haven't heard of any criminal charges. So, who knows? Like if he get the right public relations people around him, maybe he could rebrand, maybe he could retool, or maybe he could do what a lot of people don't do, which we were saying about the baby. Like sometimes just go away. Just go
Yeah.
away for a little while, let things die down, and then return on the scene. And then you know what? I realized that I made people uncomfortable or whatever it is. Like he can rebrand. He can
No,
rebrand.
he's gonna have to make a big scene, right? To where he gets rebaptized.
You mean what do you mean he has to make a big scene? Like he has to do something that's
He probably got to get baptized, or he has to get baptized again and come out that water like, all right,
yeah.
I'm gonna do
It's
everything according to God's will.
well, he's in the private sector now, so he got to. I guess he got to figure out how you make a splash in the private sector
Yeah,
that's valuable enough or shows enough to restore faith in him. Because right now he's just viewed as a dude who was sexually inappropriate with these female staffers, and his I think his defense was that that he's handsy or he didn't know that it made people uncomfortable, or I think he even tried to throw it off on his heritage. Um, but it
yeah,
just
because I remember when he mentioned,
character.
yeah, because remember several months ago when he was, saying what he was saying at the podium, he was saying how his father, he saw like, it's tradition. He saw growing up how his father used to be like extra touchy feely and
Mhm.
but showing like I guess more of like I guess in their tradition, quote unquote, it's just showing like, you know, but not in that way or not in that
Mhm.
light. He said he was saying that several months ago. And he said growing up seeing that, he just thought it wasn't like people didn't take it the way that it's magnified of what they saying he allegedly tried to do
Yeah, we got a
or
lot of
allegedly doing.
feedback on the Bill Cosby video. I wonder when people, if you're watching this episode, I wonder what your thoughts are. Leave it down in the comments. Like, if people position are going to be that these women lied on, they lied on Governor Cuomo. He didn't
That
really do it.
that comment section of the episode that you referred to,
Mhm.
yeah, there were women that were voicing their opinion or their perspective about certain things, but shout out to the strong women out there. We would never have it to where we showing something, maybe things were taken out of context in certain situations and that, but you know but back to Cuomo, yeah, I mean he might, I don't know, man, he might be able to revive himself, but I don't think so. I think the political realm, he needs to just wash it up.
Fall back.
Yeah, he
Just
need yeah,
fall back.
because he's gonna start putting a dent in his family name. He don't
Well, they already started with the dismantling of him. Like I also heard today that it was revealed that there were far more COVID deaths in New York City than he actually
yeah
reported. And so I mean
yeah
it is what it is. Like even if it's, again, I go back to, because I do believe a lot of people say is politically motivated. It may be politically motivated, but
you talking about the
whatever
nursing
people,
home stuff, right?
the nursing home stuff and these accusations,
Yeah,
but here's the thing, that if you didn't do the stuff, then they wouldn't be able to get you on it. So that's equivalent to, let's say I'm in politics,
mm,
right? And you know, years ago I got arrested for selling drugs, and they dig that up and they be like, yo, this dude's a drug dealer. And what am I gonna say? Oh, well, you dug that up because you don't want
mm.
me in office. The fact of the matter is, serious, like, yo, the fact of the matter is what?
I see
I
what you're
did it.
saying.
I
Yeah,
did
yeah.
it, right? Like if I didn't do it, it wouldn't be there.
It
And
wouldn't hold no bearing. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that that's what people get lost on. Like this is not a manufactured story. This was several women that came out and was like, yo, he was playing grab ass with them, trying to kiss them,
What?
dude. Just do, yeah, like grabbing their ass, just doing all kind of stuff that
Damn,
was
man.
that was and that was inappropriate. And the thing about it, that, yo, I tip my cap to him. Like I think initially he started off with the argument of that I didn't do it, or I don't recall, or whatever it is. But I think slowly but surely somebody probably advised him, and he shifted from I didn't do it to I didn't realize I was making people feel uncomfortable in my heritage. His story shifted from where it
Yeah.
wasn't about denying and trying to shame the victim to more so along the lines of like I was wrong, but I didn't realize I was wrong. And we need to get to a point where people actually move away from that and get to I was wrong. But I'll take that over. Yeah, I know these women was hoes, or they knew what they was doing with me, or they knew that I was the governor, and this is what there was some progression. There was some progression in terms of that timeline with him, with actually admitting it. But again, I go back to like if them skeletons or them bones aren't in the closet, people can't they can't dig them out on you.
Yeah.
They can't be like, yo, Shannon was dealing drugs back in 1997, this, that, or whatever. We got the rap sheet, and then I'm gonna be like, yo, you dug that up because you don't want me to be the governor. Nah, I don't want you to be the governor, but in 1997 you sold crack. So if that's not there for them, they can't weaponize something against you that's not there. Because if I never sold drugs, I could be like, yo, go check the police records. There's no record of me ever being arrested for it. There's no record of me.
Or it could be you dug it up because you racist.
That comes up too. That comes up too.
That's the power. That's the Trump. That's the power card. Pow.
But you know what that is? That's a deflection from what it actually is. Whether you dug it up because you don't want me to be the governor, because you're racist, because you don't like me, because I'm taller than you, because I got more than you or less than you, whatever it is, at the end of the day, if you got me on doing it, you got me there. I did it, and
you know what it is too, though, Sha? That's why I was like, he need to stay out that political realm, because damn, he get in the political realm again, and it's another situation happened again. That's it.
Well,
he's done.
You know why I say that he shouldn't? That if I was him, I wouldn't shy away from it. I wouldn't shy away from it because you see these debates, and all these debates, all they do is attack people on their personal character and their record. All the debates about is stuff. Well, you had these lawsuits where you said that you're a slumlord, or you did this and you did that, and it really don't have much to do about people policy. It's just digging up dirt on them and putting it on the national scale, or making their supporters aware, or the people who are on the fence aware. So I don't see him as being ruined. I just think he got to sit it out for a cycle. So maybe he doesn't run for president next time it comes up. He's still a young enough man that after Biden and Kamala finish their term, whoever else is in, or if they get put back in, then he revisits 8 years from now, whatever. There's plenty of time for him to restore faith, and plenty of time for people to forget, because between now and 8 years, somebody else going to touch something. Somebody else going to do something far more heinous. That's going to take precedence.
Trust me, bro. The way it's going, I don't think Biden is going to get reelected.
You know what? Honestly, I'll say it's too early to say that, because where are we
saying as far as like they quoting how he's like losing his cognitive functioning.
We're 7 or 8 months into everything that's going on, and God only knows how many more stimulus checks. When year 4 rolls around, there'll be some stimulus checks. There'll be some college student loan forgiveness. There'll be some stuff that's going to make people forget all about the faculties eroding and all the other stuff. People only focus on the here.
And hopefully, by in God's name, this COVID stuff will be, somewhat gone or damn near gone.
I hope so too.
I can't take that stuff no more.
Yeah. Yo, so that concludes episode 93, W.W.R.D. What Would Rob Do? Rob, we know you watching. We hope you get well soon so you can come back, get back with us, get in here and join in on these conversations. Z, thanks for the great chat tonight, man. I appreciated it.
Thank you.
I was rocking with you. I don't know about the Sha'carri conspiracy. You went to the left on that.
Look, it's looking too crazy. But she will bounce back. She will bounce back, and it'll be a way better story than what's already played out right now. Redemption.
Yeah. Tune into the Zane Conspiracy Hour, that the next No Ideas original show coming soon. Zane spinoff, the Conspiracy